Hey guys, Dwayne here. Today I want to talk about how your ex can make things difficult and how you respond to it can really determine how the whole situation plays out and how it impacts you and ultimately the results you get. Now, this was brought up earlier today. I was having a conversation with another person, and they were talking about their situation and how they spent months trying to work out a plan and to accommodate some vacation and stuff. And one of the things that she had said that kind of struck a chord with me was at one point, it was about switching time. It was time swapping. And I thought about it because I've had the same experience, and probably a lot of you guys have had the same experiences as well, where you'll do things to accommodate the other person, and then something will happen where you need an accommodation, like you need to switch weekends, or you need to switch time, or you want to swap a day, something along those lines. So what you'll notice is as soon as you try to do that, they're going to push back. There's going to be some type of drama associated with it. They'll either not respond to you, ignore your requests, or they'll just say no. Actually, one of the experiences I had when I would do it, it would just be no. Hey, we've done these things. I would ask, hey, can we do X? No. I mean, not even nope. I mean, just no. And the thing okay, so here is the main thing to think about when you're dealing with this, right? These people are going to take every opportunity to mess with you. Anything that should be simple is going to be hard, and it's going to be complicated. Okay, in some situations, you need to deal with it. You're going to need to fight the fight. If it's really important to you, and you really need the accommodation or whatever it is, then it's worth the fight. However, if it's something that only means a little bit to you, and see, and this changes over time. What I'll tell you is, like for me initially, every time something happened and she would just be difficult just for the sake of being difficult, it was annoying. I mean, it's like, are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. For one example I'll give you is, I know I mentioned to you guys that my kids have been in therapy, and initially my son, when he was going for the fact that he had an estranged relationship with me. And the therapist was saying that we should spend more time together, that we should try to do things just one-on-one. Okay, simple solution, right? So I had offered up, I said, hey, how about we swap weekends around, and even to the point where it's like, look, let me have our son, on this weekend, and then I can do the same thing for you. That way you could have a day just with whichever child you want. The answer, okay, now that one wasn't even a no. That one was absolutely, you can do whatever you want on your weekend when you have all the kids. I mean, I laugh at that now, but it's so, I mean, it's bizarre, right? I mean, but the bottom line is it's anything to throw a wrench in the works, to cause problems, to make things a little more complicated. That's typically what they're going to do. Now, what you'll notice is, as soon as you're trying to ask them to do something, as soon as they want an accommodation, the expectation is that you're going to immediately do it. And here's the really tough spot for a lot of us, especially early on, is we actually take the effort to accommodate. It might even torque us off. I mean, we might even be really frustrated by it, but it's like, okay, this is important to my child and they want to do it and it's on their mom's day, or, and okay, how can I make it work? And then you do that, and the expectation in the back of your mind is okay, well, all right, so I'll be the gracious one. I'll try to put out the olive branch. And as soon as it turns around, they grab the branch and they slap you upside the face with it. I mean, it's annoying, and it's unfortunate how common it actually is. I mean, and so the best, there's, I've been talking a lot about phases and how we go through phases on this. And this is another example of that, because you'll go through the phase where it'll make you mad. And you'll push the issue, and you'll do that tit for tat email back, or those conversations and those heated conversations to try to force the issue, and nothing will happen. Then you'll get to the point that you'll ask knowing they're going to say no, and they say no, and it makes you mad, right? And then you get at that point. So the first point is you ask the question and you argue. The second time is you ask the question and you know the answer is going to be no. You wait for the answer to be no, and you're still mad, and you deal with that. The next phase is you don't even ask. You look at it and you're like, I am not even going to give that person the opportunity to say no, because that's what they're going to do, and it's annoying. Then what happens is you get to the phase where you don't care anymore. Now, this phase takes a long time to get to. But when you get to that phase, you ask the question, you don't care whether the answer is yes, no, whatever. It's like whatever the answer is. And I've had that on a couple of things. And the amazing part is when you get to that point and they realize that they can't fight with you. They realize you're not going to take the bait. You're not going to engage with them. You're not going to, have this knockdown drag out. They're going to see that you're having an emotional response in some way. Then they will calm down a little bit, and then sometimes they will actually agree to the request. But still, it's a hit and miss. You don't know what time of the day or what the answer is going to be. But you get to the point that you don't care. And that's kind of like the final phase on a lot of this stuff, is you just get to the point where it's like, okay, you stay over there, have a nice little life. I'll deal with you when I have to, but I don't want to waste any time on you anymore. I don't want to talk with you anymore. I don't want to deal with it. So I'll engage when I need to. And whatever you say or do, if you accommodate, great. Hey, you can do it. It's almost like looking at it like, let's say you wanted to do something and you need to get time off from work, right? If you go into your boss and say, hey boss, there's this event that came up with my kid that I really want to do. Can I have this day off? Sometimes they'll say yes. Sometimes they'll say no. Sometimes there'll be a reason. Sometimes there won't. It depends on what the boss is. It's almost like you have to look at it in that regard and be, and deal with it in that more detached way. Now, it's incredibly difficult. I get it, because it's your kids. It's somebody who is basically been ordered to work with you, and they're refusing to do it. And they're just doing it to be difficult. They're not doing it because you have a mission coming up, or a project that's due that, millions of dollars is at stake and you need to be there for it, or, it's Christmas holiday and everyone has to work and the company just doesn't approve leave, or whatever the situation is. It's just because I can say no, and I'm saying no because I can say no, right? And it's infuriating. It annoys the crap out of you. And then within those phases, you get to the point where you just want to say no every time they ask. You just want to basically do the same thing. When they say something and they're like, oh, I want to do X, no, right? And you'll probably go through that phase for a little bit, and then you'll just get to the point where you'll look at it and go, okay, if it's important to my child and they want to do it, then I don't care, right? It's important for them. This is about them. This isn't about her. It's hard to get to that phase. Anybody of you guys out there who have actually got to that faster, congratulations. That's awesome. That took me a while to get to. And I still have a little bit of an issue with it where I'm not overly thrilled when these situations happen. But I'm really, last year I think there were some things that happened when I made the videos about sabotaging vacations and stuff like that. That was when I had really gotten to the point where when she did certain things, it didn't make me angry anymore. It was just like, okay, yeah, expected that to happen. Not thrilled about it, but it's just part of it is getting to the point where you make the decision that you are not going to give that person the satisfaction, if you want to call it that they made you angry. Now, and realistically, they don't even know, right? A lot of this stuff happens. It's not like, I'm going over there and I'm yelling and screaming, or I'm sending flaming emails or anything like that. it's in your own house, right? You get these communication and your reaction is completely your own reaction. No one else really sees it. No one else hears it, but it's real, right? It's legitimate. It's a legitimate reaction. But at some point, you will get to the point where you won't allow yourself to get angry on it because it's not worth it to you anymore. Because there's a change within you where you decide that you're just not going to play. You're not going to do it. You're not going to give them that power over you. And that's a really good day, right? When you get to that point, and it's weird because it happens very gradually, and it's not like, because even if you say it, right? Even if you are at the point where you say, I'm not going to do it, and they poke you in the eye with something, you're still mad, right? You know, you're like, no, I'm not going to be mad, but you're still mad. I mean, guys, I went through that too, you know? I mean, where I would tell myself that I'm not going to respond this way, and I was still responding that way. But it's normal, right? It's part of this process. Now, I get that telling you guys this at the early stages of it doesn't take that pain and that anger away. You are in the middle of it. You're feeling it, that hurt and that pain and that sorrow. And it's all tied with all kinds of stuff, guys. It's not just that one event. It's all boiling back to somebody who you believed in, who you trusted. They betrayed you in a way that is unfathomable, that you just can't process. And that takes time. That's going to take time to get through that. That's going to take time for you to reconcile that. But what I will tell you, and the little bit of hope that I'm trying to share with you guys in this, is you do get over it. You do process it. Unfortunately, and I know I've said this like a broken record on a lot of the videos, it takes a lot of time. It's not fair. It's not right. It's not right that this person, you went through this experience from point A to point B, and then now you realize that whole situation was fundamentally a lie, so you're mad about that. And this is the same situation I had, so I would imagine that you guys are going through the same thing. You're at this point where you broke free. You're free of it. They're not even in your house anymore, but you can't get away from it. It's like the thing hasn't changed. And you're thinking and you're feeling like, oh my God, you know, I escaped, but I haven't escaped. It's basically the same thing, except they're not in the house. But they're not in the house. Like in this situation, they're not in the house. You have to look for those little, you know, those little victories and the positive little nuggets out of all this to help you get through the day. And I get it, right? But here's the thing I want you to remember is as you progress, each day it gets a little bit better, it gets a little bit easier, and at some point in the future, it'd be nice if it was a near future, like next week, but it's going to probably be a little bit longer than that, you're going to move on and move through these phases and get to the point where their ability with their actions to get an emotional response from you is going to basically burn out. If you're in that situation and you are getting really angry and you're really frustrated, think about, you know, I was talking about with the phases. Know that you're going to get to the phase and try to make the decision that you do not want to give them that power over you anymore. And hopefully that running in your head, that little inner voice running in your head, can give you enough strength to just kind of to lower that or shorten that time where the flare-up is, right, when you get angry, and you can regain your peace or let go of it. And I think that can be a real big help. I mean, I had to get through that myself. I mean, I didn't necessarily have somebody speaking that in my ear. I wish I did. I wish there was somebody that when I was going through it who could frame it in the context of a personality disorder, because then it explains why this stuff is happening, and it would have helped. And hopefully if you guys are on the early stages of this, hopefully all this stuff is helping, and it's, you know, it still sucks, right? I mean, I'll tell you, if you're going through this, and even if it's early and your time frame is compressed, it is still going to be one of the hardest and most painful experiences you've gone through. The only good part about it is you might be able to compress it. So on that, if you like this video, Give it a thumbs up. If you have something you want to add in the comments, please do that in the comments below. If you know somebody's going through this, please share this video with them, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye.